Welcome back to Distinguished. What you're about to hear is a special recording. This is a live recording captured at the BU Shaw Hospitality Leadership Summit, one of the most energizing days in our annual calendar. On a day when this industry's sharpest minds come together to talk about where hospitality is headed, what is being built, and what big ideas are worth betting on. A day rooted in the belief that experience, innovation, and entrepreneurship are not just buzzwords, they are the engine of everything we do in this industry. And today's session delivered exactly that. We're sharing the live recording of The Simmer, the restaurant technology podcast that has become essential to listening to anyone serious about the future of this industry. Hosted by Christine Hawley, founder of Expedite and one of the most respected restaurant tech journalists working today, and Brendan Barton, CEO of Byte. They bring a rare and powerful combination, rigorous journalism and real operator experience. The Simmer does not chase hype. It follows the ideas that actually matter, asks the hard questions, and gives a platform to the entrepreneurs and leaders who are shaping what hospitality looks like tomorrow. Every episode is a masterclass in thinking bigger. If you're not yet a listener, we encourage you to follow The Simmer wherever you get your podcasts and to visit their YouTube channel where you can watch full episodes and conversations like this one. Links are in the show notes. Their guest for this live recording was Judy Thelen, CEO and co-founder of Beli, a platform redefining how people discover and share the restaurants that they love. It is a wonderful example of the kind of bold, experience-driven entrepreneurship that this summit was built to celebrate. At Shaw, we talked a lot about the power of hospitality, not just as a business, but as a human endeavor. The ability to make someone feel seen, welcomed, and cared for is one of the most profound things we can offer in the world. And when you combine that with innovation, with technology, with entrepreneurial courage, the possibilities are extraordinary. I'm Dean Arun Upneja, and I hope this conversation inspires you as much as it inspired everyone in that room. Enjoy.
Hi, Kristen.
Hi, Brandon. You're right there.
We're right next to each other.
Oh my goodness. It's
There's a
so
lot of people
nice
in front
to
of
be
us,
here.
so
There
cool.
are. So I'm going to look at you.
Okay, fine.
I do a lot of speaking and interviewing, but I do get a bit nervous when
I'm in the center and I don't have that much of an angle. I have to look at everybody.
you can look wherever you want. So so it's really nice to see you in person.
I know.
It's really nice to be here.
This is great.
I just got back from vacation, so you're going to have to tell me what's going on.
Okay. Usually the news breaks while you're on vacation.
Always.
This makes sense.
Always.
All right, let's check the notes. Okay, first of all, in a non-AI story,
Yes.
two mentors of mine have both announced at least the dates that their books are coming out. I think these things were in the works and so forth, but I think especially that we're at BU and there are students here, pretty exciting. For the longest time, setting the table was the manual for how to run restaurants, and then Will, did his thing and wrote Unreasonable Hospitality. Well, both Will Guidara and Danny Meyer now have new books coming out.
They do. They do.
One is Danny's is called What Could Possibly Go Right?
Oh, right. It's about opening restaurants.
Oh gosh.
Yeah. We need a little bit of Danny Meyer positivity.
Yeah, for sure.
In these challenging times.
And then Will's is the kind of adjunct to his book, which is the Field Guide to Unreasonable Hospitality.
Yes.
His is coming out in April. Danny's is in the fall. Mm-hmm. And it's exciting.
And I think what's really exciting about these and the reason that we're talking about books right now and in a tech conversation is because these books and these lessons gleaned from decades and decades of running some of the world's best restaurants are applicable to nearly every facet of human life and interaction.
And potentially AI as well.
Yes.
I mean, I think what's interesting about that, their learning, teaching, so forth, in the context of AI is simply, even in the conversation we had last night, the world may change to a very hospitality-focused world because in-person stuff is going to become more important.
Oh, I hope so.
I know. That's the positive view, at least. Don't ask me about the other side.
We're going to talk about the other side.
Okay, good. And training the world on how to be more hospitable to each other is really important. And so we have two great people that are doing that.
Great. Yes.
And the other side of it is
all the scary stuff.
AI
the news about Anthropic and Claude and the scary model that finds all the flaws and
Mythos.
security.
I don't know if Evan's here yet, but I read his piece on it this morning, and the 5 other pieces, and I saw the Fred Again video, and I tried to watch all of that. I don't know if you're here yet, but you'll get it.
The news story is that there is a very, very, very powerful AI model coming from Anthropic that is so powerful that it has been pre-released to, I think, 40 of the top technology companies in the world because it's so good at finding flaws and vulnerabilities in code and in services that they want to give the world's largest tech companies some time to figure out how to protect themselves against potential nefarious acts committed by this insanely powerful AI model.
Yes, and I think the thing that scared me the most of it was simply the idea that there were parts of the exercises that it was doing, and again, I'm doing this secondhand reading Evan's stuff, so Evan, you're talking later, great. But it tried to hide some of the ways that it was going about the things it was doing, and that.
Well, every time a story like that comes out, like, did you read the one about there was like an executive at Google who was tasked with security or safety, and the AI model that she was working on like erased her entire inbox, and she couldn't stop it. Like it was just like deleted all of her email, and like, I was just being helpful,
just trying.
So
scary.
Yeah. So balance.
And so at least they won't release it yet, and other companies will have an opportunity to.
The point of this is, yes, with great power comes great responsibility.
Yes.
And I think that is an important theme as we talk about AI and the power of technology to enhance humanity, right? You also have to think and consider the ways that it may go rogue and or take over and or really impact the way that we exist and live.
Heard. And DoorDash took that responsibility very seriously last week. This happened before you went on vacation.
Do people in the room know this app, Zesty? No? You're like the only person that cared about this.
No. But so to be clear, I cared. It was like a hate sport for me. I loved disliking this app.
Tell the room about Zesty.
Very simply, Zesty was an attempt by DoorDash has bought 7 rooms and now does full service and grocery and obviously a lot of the more fast casual and delivery focused restaurants, and you got to be on DoorDash if you're a restaurant to some extent. Maybe Eli disagrees and figures it out, but the reality is they have a lot of the landscape now, especially with 7 rooms. So they set out to give you a place where you can go and find restaurants for some set of occasions. So chat prompt, where you can say, I want to have dinner. I think I put the first thing I did was I want a midtown dinner in New York for my board. And the answers were so absurdly ridiculous.
Where did it send you? Where did it try to send you?
I don't even want to say because it was, I don't actually remember exactly, and I would want to be precise with how bad it is because it's funnier how bad it was. But if you think about all the years of data that DoorDash has and the reviews and the how their algorithm might be biased in a way, it basically biased towards either restaurants that are on 7 rooms or restaurants that do a lot of delivery.
Was it biased?
Bias is probably the wrong word. It was the algorithm was shaded by the data that it had, which all algorithms.
So Zesty was ostensibly an AI-powered restaurant discovery standalone app from a $30 billion.
And the important thing is was because DoorDash said this didn't work, and they deprecated it and said we're putting it into the DoorDash main app. But I think Judy might have some thoughts on the deprecation of it because restaurant discovery is really hard, and it's not just about slapping an LLM on a bunch of data to figure out where you go, where you want to go out with your friends or go with your parents or go to dinner. And I'm sad that you all can't try Zesty because it was a good time. Awesome. So funny.
How many times did you text me about Zesty giving you a bad answer? Do you know the answer to this question? I don't have my phone, so I can't look. But
12?
Probably.
12? Yeah. The best one was the last one where I took a screenshot video and showed her how I put it into my dead resto apps folder.
What else lives in there?
I'm not going to throw shade on everybody else. All these great entrepreneurs. Cover, Reserve. They're Servy. Yeah, many of these people are friends, now. Pour one out for Zesty.
I think this room would appreciate the video that you sent me of you deleting.
Let's throw it up on the screen. Can I just air fry?
All right. Well, with that,
Judy Thelen, CEO of Beli, co-founder and CEO of Beli. This is a long time coming. So great to have you on this Simmer Live.
Thank you for having me. I'm so excited to be here.
This is great.
A little nervous now. But.
Yeah, you should be. As you know, we do little to no preparation for these, so that's absolutely true. This is just it. I wrote notes while Eli was talking, and I said them. But why don't you, for the uninitiated, tell folks what Beli is.
Yeah, so it's a social restaurant list-keeping app. So you keep lists of everywhere you've been and want to try, and you do it with your friends.
It is all the rage with anyone under 25, for sure. I mean, I'm sure the demographic goes above that, and I include myself in that, although I'm not very much a social sharer. I'm a little more of a gatekeeper. I don't want everyone to know that Borgo at the bar is the best place to be in New York City.
Untrue, sir.
What?
You talk about Borgo in every single podcast.
I know, but this whole room is the only people who listen to it.
You should go to Borgo.
It is, you're having a moment, and it's really cool to see. What do you think is like the magic behind the engagement that the app has gotten? Is it part of there are many steps within the app in which if you can unlock stuff by sharing, which seems to be one of the hacks, but maybe start there. Why are you so popular?
Yeah, that's a tough one. I mean, just starting from where you just were. I mean, for us, when we started looking at the problem, and I'm going to end up telling the whole story, so maybe I'll just do that. But
do it.
So I started Beli with my husband, Elliot. He's here, and probably no surprise, but completely restaurant obsessed, and really always have been. And so Elliot grew up in New York City. Only thing he ever wanted for a birthday was to try a new restaurant. He used to walk down the streets home from elementary school reading menus. And then when he was first learning how to code, he actually got his parents kicked off of Yelp because he was very poorly scraping Yelp data to figure out where to eat. I had a very restaurant but very different upbringing. So I grew up in the Midwest, and my dad's an investor, and he invests largely in public restaurant chains. So we were going to you name the chain every night of the week and talking more about the business side of it, cost management, et cetera.
Cool.
And so Ellie and I, we met working together in New York, and like so many people, we built our relationship around trying new restaurants. And we had a massive Google map that was ranked, color-coded, notes, favorite dishes. If you're on Beli, it probably sounds familiar, but it was very clear to us it wasn't really built for that problem. And the other thing is we were going to restaurants that were supposed to be great, had really good 5-star ratings, really great critic reviews, and we just weren't that happy ourselves. So we then went to business school, and that's where we started researching the problem. And we found a couple things. We found that pretty much every foodie kept some sort of restaurant list. It was in a note, a doc, Excel, but they weren't in tools actually built for restaurant discovery. And then 2, we found that no one writes online reviews. And so that was the idea for Beli. Can we create a place to keep good restaurant lists? And then through that, provide much better recommendations. And so we launched in summer 2021, and we feel that thesis has really played out. We'll probably get into some of that later. But for us, it was everyone's are you guys a utility? Are you a social media? And we think of ourselves as a utility. We don't think of ourselves as even a rating platform, but we think part of the utility of dining is the fact that it's social. And you need to be built around that. And so for us, it was bring all the opinions that matter to one place, yours, your friends, and then all of our recommendations are personalized because we also think that taste is personal. If I like something, you don't need to like it. If you dislike something, that doesn't mean I'm going to dislike it. And so that was kind of core to how we built. It was how do people actually dine? How do they experience food in restaurants and taste? And we think that has led to a good outcome so far. But yeah, still a long way to go.
When we spoke, I've been trying to talk to you for a really long time, so thank you for
Sorry, I'm hard to get hold.
That's okay. That's okay. When we talked, you said something that surprised me as a technology reporter. You said that you have built this app to encourage real-life behavior, and if people are spending too much time on this app, then you are not doing your job.
Yeah.
And I really want to underscore that because that is the opposite of many, I would say, of the previous generation of apps and services that support dining and consumer behavior. They want your eyes on that app all the time so they can advertise to you, so they can get your information, so they can figure out more about you. And your whole thesis is you're a utility, right? Yeah. But you want eyes off, go out to dinner. Yeah. Can you talk about that decision? Or was it even a decision of consciously building a piece of technology that you don't want people to use too much?
Yeah. I mean, for us, like getting people to do things in real life was everything. And from day one, like that was the idea. We really we loved the experience of restaurants. How you got there was we wanted to help you get there, but we wanted to get you there. And so, yeah, it was always a decision we made. And for us, it was all about tracking the right metrics. So like we don't track time spent on the app. We would maybe track it in the negative sense. If we're getting you to spend too long on the app, we're not doing our jobs and we're not getting you to a decision point quickly. But yeah, no, it was very, very important to us.
Have you taken outside investment?
We have.
And was that a hard sell to your investors?
I think it may have been if we went day one saying, hey, like, yeah, we don't want, we're not going to be measuring time spent. Like, we don't want people scrolling all day. That would have been impossible. So we actually waited until we had a lot of traction to raise. And then it was a little bit of an easier conversation. But if we had done it in the opposite order, for sure, it would have been difficult.
Okay. What metrics do you track?
We track number of restaurants you rate, friends on the app, all that, the dining, the social utility stuff.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it is a social app.
Yes, it's definitely
right.
a social app.
Yeah.
But it's just because it's part of the utility. Like we think the app needs to be social.
Sure.
Yeah.
And
Because restaurants are social.
Yeah. I mean, well, there are a lot of restaurant apps that are not necessarily social, but anyway.
No, restaurants are social, and yes.
Yeah. I mean, I imagine the key thing that brings people back is that your app helps them uncover the answer, where should I eat? And so we had a fun conversation last night at dinner and wine after, talking about the relationship to restaurant criticism. Yeah. And, I think Yelp was the first platform that broadly democratized the idea of crowdsourcing for restaurants. I think most people would agree that Yelp doesn't necessarily surface the top restaurants with the right scores. Yeah. Google neither, although both of them, right, have such ubiquity. Talk about the role of like restaurant criticism versus your friend group. How will people discover new restaurants, or how does that influence the way that you might kind of surface the restaurants I want to go to or should go to?
When you're talking about restaurant criticism, you mean professional
restaurant? Yes, professional restaurant criticism. Thank you.
Yeah. So when we started researching the problem, or like what was the problem here? We sent out a survey to a bunch of people, and there were a bunch of different questions, but one of them was like, well, who do you rank all these different things you could trust for restaurant recommendations? And it's like your friends, critics, and everyone just trusts their friends. It wins by so much. And even we now see that in the data where going to a restaurant page is the most common activity in the app, and then the number one thing on a restaurant page is actually scrolling your friend scores. People just care what their friends think, and so we knew that was important. But the critic, there's definitely a place for the critic view in all of this. We just think it's one opinion, and you need to have all the opinions that really matter, and you need to. I mean, what at least we do with critics is like, okay, oh yeah, our tastes are aligned. I trust them, and I'm looking for what they're saying. But I also want to know what my friends think. I want to know, what maybe I would like it at with these personalized recommendations. But we think there is a place for them. But we think that no matter how much, even we want our personalized recommendations to be amazing, and we think they are really good, and we'll continue to make them better. And we think they probably should be something you use as a cue more than your friend score. But people still just care so deeply about their friends, and it is social, and we kind of love that, and we think that's okay. And so, we think that the friend stuff really, really matters.
Yeah. It's almost like there's like a Rotten Tomatoes type thing where there's the critic score and then like the social score that some combination. And when those two things are off is actually where it gets really interesting, right? Everyone loves Pulp Fiction, right? Like, sure. But I don't know. I think there's a little bit of fear that I have around the friend group thing, only because what I see and feel in New York restaurants is places that get white hot for short periods of time and then everyone moves on. And that's what friend groups might do, right? That is friend group behavior, because somebody who is the tastemaker in the group is like, that place isn't cool anymore, we're going here now. I would fear as a restaurateur this idea of not being sustainable over a decade, because it's just like a short-lived thing. So I don't think that's your responsibility to counterbalance. No,
But do you see that kind of spike? Like, do you see the same kind of popularity spike, I would say, in like a recommendation, as we see like externally like trending or like because it's on a list on New York Magazine, or do you like? I'm curious. Does interest on Belly tend to mirror the interest that we would see if a restaurant wins a James Beard Award?
Yeah, it's interesting. The data has been really fun to watch. There are people that just get utility out of going to new places. And you can see that in the data where it's like they just like it more because it's new and cool. And I don't know if I should tell them they should like it more because they're clearly getting enjoyment from that. But you do sometimes see like scores go like this, and then it's like we're like, hey, let's wait a month and see where it actually ends up. So you see it a little bit, but there are places too that like get loads of hype. They're all over social media and everywhere, and the scores on Belly are not good. And so we see both things there. But another thing that we see that I think maybe would make you feel better is people start by trusting their friends a lot, but over time they actually move to the other scores. It's like you need to build trust, and so a lot of what we do is try to build trust, and we'll probably talk more about that and how we think about like how restaurants come into this. But over time, if you can prove to them that what you're showing is valuable, they actually start trusting other scores. And so there are kind of the two things going on. But yeah, you do see some people that just love the new place.
Do you share, is there any part of your business where you're sharing information with the restaurants directly? Because it's almost like you could be, especially since I think the app probably skews towards the younger generation, which you could argue are more tastemaker than people that are just going to the same place that they've been gone for years. You might be able to see ahead of time the decline of restaurants. I mean, you know, when I was at Resi, one of the things that we looked at constantly was on a Wednesday to see what reservations were available on Friday night in a restaurant. And that was, we had a whole metric system around this, like was our judge of popularity. And we knew when restaurants were doing bad, literally the day, like the week it started to happen, and you know they would start to decline from there. So do you see the same thing, and do you share this with restaurants at all?
So yes, the data, because Belly's a utility, the behavior on Belly is totally different than like a Yelp or Google, where 1 in 100, 1 in 1,000 write a single review. On Belly, over 80% of our monthly active users are rating restaurants, and so we will get signals on restaurants fast, like really, really fast. And like if a new restaurant opens, we look at this all the time. Like within a week, we'll have 10 to 100x what Google has, what Yelp has.
Wow.
And so yes, we get it fast. And sorry, your question was on...
Do you ever share this information with restaurants? Right? Are you ever the canary in the coal mine for restaurants that are starting to decline even?
Yeah. So to date, no, because really not breaking down user trust is very, very, very important to us. And if it looks like we're working with restaurants, or we don't want you ever going in the app being like, was that paid for, or is that actually recommended to me? But over time, we want to work with restaurants. For us, when we started Belly, it was supposed to be better for consumers, but it was also supposed to be much better for restaurants. Yeah. We saw these online reviews where like over 70% of ratings on Yelp are 1 or 5. Like it's just the public shaming that was like, it just made no sense to us. And so that's why we don't do public reviews, and everything's personalized and all these other things. So it's meant to be way better for restaurants, but we're slowly working towards how do we work together, and that will be something that we build out together. So today, no, we don't do it.
Cool.
The trust piece is really interesting to me in influencer age. Yeah. So I started as a journalist before there was a thing called influencers. I will date myself. But the influencer economy, as it is called, is extremely important to restaurants. And it's been a solid decade, I would say, of restaurants like understanding that this exists, and more recently tapping into this behavior. However, though there are laws and rules that govern influencers and disclosure and pay for play and all of the things that I'm subject to as a professional journalist, those things aren't always followed. Yeah. And so I guess, do you work with influencers? Are there I'm sure that they're on Belly. I'm sure that people who love and go to restaurants frequently are on Belly. Yeah.
So we in terms of how we work with, it's been really interesting to watch it evolve, and disclosure has been a tough thing. So there is no hey, go to this restaurant, get free food, go rate it on Belly. That would totally undermine everything. And so no, we don't do that. The only way we've ever worked with influencers, and we've only ever worked with one influencer, is just talk about Belly. And that's it.
Yeah. Okay.
Who was that?
Which influencer? Caitlin Eats. She's amazing. Follow her. We love her.
So you're promoting her. She's promoting you.
Yeah.
Look at that.
Win-win.
Do you feel like it's a viable strategy going, like, would you do more of that to promote the app itself?
Social media is important.
Yeah.
So when we started building Beli, we actually started building our social media accounts. And so Ellie and I do loads of content. To this day, we still run all of our social channels. And for a very long time, people just thought we were food influencers because we never said anything about the app. The idea was like build a community around food. And then that community probably will be interested in Beli. And so we think social media is really, really important, and we will continue to do a lot of it. I don't know if we'll do like direct relationships like that. Yeah.
So the business side of it is, pretty clear, and I think what's interesting about the moment, RIP Zesty, but there are many other companies right now that are trying to be the first place that you go when you want to find a restaurant. Most recently, we actually had interviewed Sam at Built, talking about what they're doing and trying to get hyper local. How do you see this landscape evolving? And is something like what Built is doing? I think, what was the balloony one that we were talking about last night? I wrote it
Corner.
down. Corner. This is another thing that I never heard of, but I downloaded. I think there are a number of ways in which people are trying to grab your attention. And DoorDash themselves, ostensibly, DoorDash wants to be the place that you go when you try to figure out any part of your meal, including groceries. How do you see the landscape evolving? Where do you fit? Do you feel like there's space for you and like a Built to cooperate?
Yeah. The landscape's been really interesting and continues to be very, very interesting. It's never been a winner-take-all market. And so I do think there's a world where everyone can live together. For us, how we think about it is we talk like endlessly about the dining out journey, and that's like all the steps included in going out to eat. And we started at the very beginning and the very end of that journey. You hear about a restaurant, you want to remember it, so you bookmark it. For the end, you went to the restaurant, want to remember it, share it with your friends, so you rate it. And we started there because one, we were competing against the notes, the docs, the Excels, none of the tools that were actually built for restaurant discovery. And two, that's where all the data sits. And so now what we do is we take all the data and try to do all the other steps. And so yeah, we want to be the starting point for literally everything. But we love working with different players in the space. Today, we're integrated with OpenTable, we're integrated with 7 Rooms. There are a lot of partnerships coming, and so I do think there's room for everyone. That's so many thoughts, but how we collect data in Beli is very different than like how a review site collects data. Like you say, if you like something better or worse than other places you've been to, and you get this ranked list, and we did that because before. And I'm gonna age myself, but before when we were starting Beli, it was before AI and ML were super cool, and we knew that reviews were broken, and so we started analyzing like why are they broken, and we took the 5-star data set and we're like, can you predict what people would actually like? And the answer was no, you literally cannot. And so we're like, okay, what kind of data do you need to collect in order to predict what people would like? And it was the ranked data, and it's used everywhere in academia, but for some reason it was not used in consumer apps. And so that's why we collect data the way we do. And so in this going back to your opening remarks, like we're big believers in garbage in, garbage out. And so for us, it was like, hey, like let's collect the right type of data, and then we can do really, really, really good recommendations and really, really, really good make really good explore tools. But like, we're going to earn the right to do that, and through collecting the right type of data and then having a lot of it and then doing it. And so we'll be doing a lot in Explore. It's a big priority for us this year. But we think, there's room for a lot of people. The market's big.
Yeah. Layer in AI to that, because you and I were chatting a little bit about how the work that you will do with, I don't know, maybe it was Anthropic. I don't know what tools you were using, but will lead to this world where you can more easily chat perhaps with your app to find where you want to go. Say more about that to the extent that you want to.
Yeah, we're still early, so I think like AI, like as a team, we're really lean, and we run really lean, and that's important to us. So AI has been amazing in providing leverage on the team layer, but in terms of like how we incorporate it into the product, there will be a lot of tests to see what actually is interesting. I think we have amazing data, and our recommendations to date, like the personalized recommendations we do in the app are great, and we can actually measure that. Like how predictive are they is something we can measure. We do think though, like there is a world where like if you have some sort of text search that gets you to do things in real life, quicker. And like, that's what we care about. And so if anything's aligned with our mission, then like we're down to try it and then see how our users react and if it's actually helpful. And then we'll iterate on that. But that's as far, like, that's what I know we'll start with, and I don't know where we'll go.
Cool.
How are you using, you glossed over this, but I want to go back to it. Is your team using AI at Beli right now?
Yeah, so every single person now on our team codes, because now even if you weren't a developer, you can vibe code, and that's been really, really awesome. It's been a big unlock, but it's mostly through the coding. Like Claude Code has been great.
Do you have an example of someone who wasn't necessarily a coder that was able to unlock some great insight or functionality?
I mean, it's like our designers now, they actually build their features. They do the research, they do the mocks, and then they build them. Like everything that we, it's crazy. I mean, we launched, everything we launched in the app now is built by, there's a piece of it that's built by someone who literally, I don't know, a couple months ago had never touched code ever. Even our ops analyst, she does she puts together a bunch of our lists for us, and she was really dependent on the developers to pull data, and now she does all of that herself. It's been, really incredible.
So it's kind of, anyone with a good idea and a good understanding can build the technology. Build is even maybe the wrong word, can create the technology that supports that specific action or idea.
We do the same, obviously, at Byte. And for folks in the room, to the extent that you are not talking to Claude, as an example, you choose your own, about what you want to do and then the challenges you'll face and how to make Claude work for you, it is incredible that this thing comes with a manual about itself. And so, I have folks on our team that are in customer success who are creating dashboards about customer success and they've never coded before. Shout out Landon and Ollie, you guys are great, amongst others. And when they come up amongst answers, they're not asking how do I do this? They're saying things like, if I was to act like an engineer and want to build a dashboard, what are all the things that I would consider? And can you write rules around that? Because I don't know anything about coding. And so it's that secondary layer. Anyway, advice, you're going to hear stuff like this all day. I am probably the least of the AI expert panelists of today. Talk to that guy. So back to it on the Beli side. If you create a great social app, let's just call it, with utility, sometimes these things have life cycles, but also similar to how Instagram's not just about sharing pictures anymore. Where does it go? What's 5 years from now? I mean, aren't you vertical AI, and isn't it the SaaS apocalypse? And can't vertical SaaS? I mean, in some way, your consumer app, but somebody could vibe code this, right, in a weekend. Yeah.
So I mean, there are lots of thoughts again. So there are real network effects here. Sure. And so the bigger you get, the better the moat. And so we have both data and people moats now. And so it's really hard to just build this and be like, hey, there are thousands of things like that out there. And so continuing to get bigger is very important to us. But in terms of it really goes back to that dining out journey I was talking about and all the different steps. And the big chunk right now is we don't think we do explore that well. And so that will be a big focus this year, and making it so you can go in the app and be whatever it may be, New York reservations are crazy. What's the best reservation I can get with Elliot tonight? And it will take both of the tastes and get you to do things and get you out to the best reservation that you can get at that point in time. So Explorer will be a big thing. But then the other two categories we think about in terms of growth are geographic and categorical. And so to date, we have over 100 million ratings. We're in over 50,000 cities, over 2 million restaurants rated. And so it's been really cool to watch the data on, when we started, everyone was like, New York is so saturated, you'll never get New York. And then we kind of did it, and then people were like, well, New York's different than everywhere else. And it's not. Crazy thing we found out, and everyone in this room knows, is that everyone eats. And people eat very differently, but that behavior is consistent. And so when you look at the data, it doesn't really matter where you are, the behavior is very similar. and that's been really, really cool. So we'll be leaning, we want to be the largest repository of preference data in the world. And so that's what we'll be building towards. And we really want you to be dropped anywhere in the world and have your perfect day, because we have all the opinions that matter, yours, your friends, these personalized recommendations. And then in terms of categorical growth, restaurant market is massive. And so we'll be here for a while, but I don't know, maybe hotels and things like that are aligned with hospitality will be in our future. But really it's like, let's do all the steps in the dining out journey and let's be everywhere. Yeah.
I was in London a year ago, and I was talking to an industry friend. We were taking a walk, and I was not yet a Beli user. And he stopped dead and looked at me, and he was like, "What is wrong with you? This is the best possible app for restaurant discovery. It's so much better than anything out there." And something that I ask people who dabble in best, and you referenced it a couple of times, your best restaurant, your best night out. How are your algorithms, how is Beli defining best for an individual user? Because that is the most subjective superlative.
That's a great question.
No, right. Well, I love your friend. Your friend sounds amazing. We best, we agree with you. It's within Beli, it's almost like a bad word. Because there is no best, and we believe that to our cores. But then, we put out loads of stuff on social media, it's like top rated, and then we're afraid that might come off as best, and that's actually not what it's meant to be. But I'll talk about something else in a second. But we think best is what it's best for you, and that is very different than what's best for me, and that's okay. People should not feel bad about their taste. It can be different. It is very personal. It is subjective. And so, it's truly very, very personal. That said, the other thing we think a lot about is, I think we were talking about this last night, is the idea of like an echo chamber. And like, if you're taking someone's taste today and just giving them the same thing over and over and over again, how do they grow? And so the explore, like the different lists, I don't know if your friends help you or hurt you, but really pushing, and that's what Beli today, one thing it does really well, but also maybe to the detriment to restaurants. But like, we get you to go to new places because Beli is very gamified, and you only get credit for like how long your list is and your streaks and all of that. So we're really pushing you to explore, and so we think that's how we today are defeating kind of the echo chamber nature of this. But also, loyalty and going back to restaurants is really important. So we're trying to figure out how do you take all those things and do them well. So yes, best is personal, but also we want to be careful about being an echo chamber.
Yeah. For example, I was in Philadelphia. I was in Philadelphia speaking at a conference a couple weeks ago, and I went to a lot of top-rated places that were wonderful. But also, I am maybe surprised to hear, a real introvert. And by the end of the 2 days of just constant contact with humans, I just wanted to sit somewhere quiet in a corner. And so best for me in that moment was this like tiny, it was an El Yin restaurant, so it was still a spectacular place, but it was quiet, it was empty, it was like kind of away from everything else that was happening. And I needed that recommendation. I happened to be in the room with her, and I went and asked this restaurateur where I should go, and she said, sit at the end of my bar. We'll save you a seat. But I guess what I'm trying to say is Beli flexible like that? Like, is there a best for, Kristen on a Sunday night who doesn't want to talk to anybody, and then versus, Kristen on a Thursday night that is like ready to go? No,
you're 100% correct. It's definitely situational as well. Yes, it should be. You should be able to be like, hey, like, this is where I'm at today. Mm-hmm. What should I do? And wherever we're not doing that well today, like we think we can and will. Yeah.
Great. Do you have a final question before we?
Are you taking feature requests?
Always.
Okay. Ellie?
I'm a little nervous to say that to you, but
I got the mic.
I know.
I don't, and look, maybe this is even possible already because I'm not that deep yet. But I feel like I would want to kind of stack rank my friends in who I would trust their recommendations and who I wouldn't. Some of them on the negative side of the curve. But look, I mean, I have been involved in restaurants and restaurant tech for a very long time, especially in New York. And Colin Kamak has it dialed in as to where to go. Whereas, love you, Bobby Sietsema, but I'm not going to go to the Yemen restaurant in outer Queens to eat pig's head. Like it's just not going to happen, right? So, is that something you've ever thought about, where you can self-direct to which friends might have more influence on your recommendations?
Yeah, so may be surprising, maybe not. You're not the first person to ask for that. We do get emails, and people are so crazy.
Mike, we're going to edit that part.
Yeah. People are so crazy about ranking. They're like, I want to rank my friends, and I want, some of my friends have terrible taste, and that's fine.
The AI would recommend to drop your friends.
Yeah.
You can't have friends with bad restaurant tastes.
But what we do today is you can see how correlated you are with different people. And so we actually show you your match score. And so we hopefully paints the picture of one, it's okay to disagree, but also you may trust or may not trust that person, but here's how similar you are. So yes, there will be more things. We think of Explore as places, but also people.
And then you got to check if they're both single.
I was just going to say that. I was Valentine's Day next year. Yeah, you do a matchmaking service.
Yeah,
restaurant
Chipotle bowls. Oh no, it was Cava bowls. My buddy's doing this. He's doing the Cava series where he puts two people on a blind date. Shout out Jacob. Okay, with that.
No, we want to. Yeah, we want to.
Yeah, we want to go to questions. We have a perfect amount. It's about 17 minutes for questions.
A huge thank you to Kristen Hawley and Brendan Barton of the Simmer for bringing this conversation to life and for being such generous collaborators. If you're not already following the Simmer, we highly encourage you to do so. You can find it wherever you listen to podcasts, and be sure to check out their YouTube channel for the full video experience. To keep up with our show, subscribe to Distinguished wherever you get your podcasts, and explore more about experience innovation and our programs at bu.edu/hospitality. You can also reach me directly at shahdean@bu.edu. That is SHADEAN@bu.edu. I'm Arun Upneja, Dean of the BU School of Hospitality Administration. Thank you for listening, and see you next time.